ceasefire and the hostage release agreement between Israel and Hamas. And to get a congressional perspective on all of this, joining me is Congressman Ron Estes. He's a member of the House Budget Committee as well as the Ways and Means Committee, and he represents the 4th Congressional District of the great state of Kansas. Congressman Estes, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to see you, my friend.
Well, great, Jody. Thanks for having me back on.
Well, listen, let's get started. This is a huge issue what's happening now with Israel and Hamas. And, there's obviously a lot of leaders who are giving credit to President Trump for his role in this. And at the same time, there's a lot of them who are not giving any mention of the president. Look, let's just begin by saying all glory to God for what's happening in this ceasefire. But it does appear to me that the role that President Trump has been pretty significant. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, I would agree with you. Give all glory to God, but it is fairly significant of what President Trump's done, and he's shown from his first term when he instituted the Abraham Accords and got the agreements to actually start to make some what we hope will turn into lasting peace in the Middle East, and being able to do the work as a leader that he's been able to do on the international stage to bring countries like Qatar and Turkey and Egypt together to help in this effort to bring Hamas to support a peace plan. And Israel's wanted to do this for a long period of time. And this week is the 2-year anniversary of the brutal invasion into Israel and the attacks on Israeli citizens. And so it's great to see with this peace plan that's being brought forth that we'll be able to see the remaining hostages, the ones that are alive, and unfortunately as well, the ones that have passed away, being returned to their loved ones, and that we can go forward and hopefully it'll ultimately end up being better lives for the citizens in Gaza, that they won't have the terror of Hamas hanging over their heads as they try to go about their daily lives, and being able to have a peaceful solution to move forward. It was 20 years ago this year where Israel pulled out of Gaza with the intention of it becoming an area where they could have a peaceful development, and unfortunately Hamas took it over, and now we need to move forward and let's have peace in the Middle East. Let's make sure that it works well, that it's monitored as we go forward. Obviously, there's lots of organizations, lots of individuals that, and some of them want it to fail, and so it has to be monitored, and we'll have to have some ongoing effort to make sure that this turns out to be a success.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that this has been going on for 2 years, this week, in fact. And, one or the other is going to take place, it seems to me. Either this is simply, at the end of the day, going to be a prisoner and hostage exchange between the two countries, or we are indeed going to see the beginning of lasting peace in the region. And that's what we're all waiting on bated breath to see, and what we all need to be praying for. I appreciate your comments on that. If I can, Congressman, let me turn now to the whole issue of the government shutdown. Here we are, day 10 of all of this, and the Trump administration is now in the process of laying off a bunch of federal workers. And yet the Senate Democrats continue literally holding our government hostage to all of this. What's your thoughts on how all of this is going? Where's it going to go from here?
Yeah, it really is sad for our country that the Democrats are holding our country hostage. Several weeks ago, the House Republicans passed a continuing resolution, which basically means we'll continue to fund the government at the current levels until November 21st, while the appropriations process for the entire fiscal year of 2026 is set up. And we didn't want any gimmicks in it. We didn't want any poison pills in that setup. And, actually these funding levels have been voted on by Democrats earlier this year. And so it's not like it's a new issue for them. Unfortunately, what we've seen since then is the Democrats would rather shut down the government because they want to make outrageous and unreasonable demands for additional spending. And we've seen time and time again over the last 10 days that they're willing to hold the country hostage. And, Senator Schumer, as part of his effort in leading this Schumer Democrat shutdown, he said yesterday that every day gets better for them. And I think he's referring to their campaigns in their Democrat primaries. I think they're more worried about them losing the primaries than they are worrying about what's the right thing for the country. And so I think they all should look forward to how do we help the country, how we make what's best for America. My concern is right now they're waiting to we'll wait till a week from tomorrow when there's a big Democrat rally protest in Washington that they're going to not do any votes to reopen the government till after that. And what we've seen are some of the consequences. You mentioned earlier today about the reduction in force efforts that's having to take place, that actually people that are workers in federal government are actually starting to lose their job, not just furloughed and not just without pay, but actually losing their job because of this. And it's terrible consequences for the folks that have been working without pay, whether you're our military folks, whether our Border Patrol folks, the air traffic controllers and the TSA agents, folks that are after protecting ourselves. And the first paychecks were missed today for the Capitol Police that actually protect the members of Congress and the senators.
Congressman Ron Estes from Kansas, thank you so much. We will see next week how this all wraps up. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch. Hope you have a great weekend.